Now, you'll notice a lot of the drum sounds here are from these classic Roland drum machines. Like, we've got a 909 kick, we've got an 808 clap. Tiny bit of reverb on that makes it more dreamy. We have some hi-hats, which are all from 808s and 909s, 808 rim shot. And this is the tambourine from the 707. So it's literally all drums from Roland drum machines. And that is a very big part of this classic sound. Like, if you use like modern like Vengeance samples or something like that, you know, you're really not going to get that kind of thing. You need to use these classic drum machine sounds, but not just like any. Like, because there's some out there that aren't really the same. Like, you really need that big fat kick like that. Like, it can't just be a little quiet 909. You see, there's no processing on this, at least individually on here. There's no processing. You want it to just be a very fat kick right out of the drum machine. Putting this closer to 160 already gives it that more like jungle kind of 90s feel. Because originally jungle was kind of like working its way up, you know, like 150, 160, getting up to the 170 range. So by keeping it a little bit lower, you just get that more old school groove already. Where it's obviously still fast, it's still in that drum and bass range, but it's just not quite that just, and it gives you a little bit of a different feel. And if we put this, like, you could even go to like 160. So yeah, that's actually very important. So that's, again, it's not about creating a whole bunch of notes like across the scale. Pick a very few notes and try to make a complex pattern with a few notes. And then the other thing here is the call and response, right? Because we have right? We have the call and then the response. So again, that's the key to this. The first thing is pick 1 or 2 or 3 notes across a few different octaves. Make it short and simple in that regard, but complex with the actual pattern. And then just do a call and response. It becomes very simple when you think of it that way. But that's what will create a pattern that's simple but still can be like exciting enough to fill the whole track. Sound on this one is made, this is also made with operators. So yeah, operators are really good for pads too, because just like you can create deeper sounds for the bass that still have a nice harmonic thing going on, same thing with the pads as well. You can see, you know, it's just some sine waves. We've got them at different octaves though, and you can see by having this third one have the envelope where it like slowly builds in and then drops down. It kind of gives you this like evolving pad that's opening up. And then we have these FM strings. Again, hear what's happening there. These really are meant to fit over top of those chords. It's meant to be a different synth that plays some like additional notes that are going to fill that out. So what's happening here is it's just 2 note chords. It's an F sharp droning, and then this A sharp going up to C sharp. So if we're looking at this musically, it's the minor third being held down, and then the 5th going up to the minor 7th. And then if you put that over top of your main chords, it's going to fit really well. Now, we have the breaks. Now, I was really trying to show you how to get the texture as well as the chopping, and not just like take one break and chop it and leave it dry and be done, but really how to get like what you guys are hearing in these different artists that you're trying to figure out how to do. So basically, the way you're going to do that is it's usually going to be about 2 breaks. Any more than that is too full, and you can get away with 1 break too. It really just depends on what sounds good. But here, it's 2 different breaks where you can hear they're doing 2 different things. They're playing the exact same pattern. It's not that, but it's 2 different things sonically, where this one, it's obviously all the highs. And this is the mid-range and the punch and the lows. And each one on their own wouldn't really fill it out, right? Because this one has a lot of punch and fullness in the low end, but it's not got that like punch in the highs to it. And then this one doesn't have the full lows, but it has the like the kick really punches. So you put them together, and you get one really full thing. And that's really just layering in general. That's not even like breakbeats. That's just like how to layer things. Like, that's not, processing or anything more than just having two good samples that you know fit together based on the qualities that are already there before you do any processing. Okay, so let's say we have that part. What I would do then is just take like a few little chops. Like, we'll take that, and take that. When you start doing it this way, you can see it comes together pretty quickly. And that's how you get that kind of like more random, sort of all over the place feel. And the idea here is that, the breakbeat sample is really only like the sauce on top of it. But you can't have sauce without a steak, right? So this is essentially going to be the steak, like the meat underneath all of that, that's really going to make it hold together. Because when you hear a track like this, at a rave or something, right, it's not just the breakbeat. You also have a like the punch and the kick and the snare. And that's really like, you have to have that. And that's where these come in, because you can sit here with the breakbeat all day and try to do like multi-band compression and drum bussing and all that stuff, but you're really just never going to get that like. And if you do, it's not going to be as clean as if you literally just layer some samples underneath. Ready to start converting into mono. This is also going to help with making the break hit hard, because things that are stereo don't really have a lot of impact to them. Like, if you think about what is usually going to be stereo in your mix, it's not going to be like the kick and bass line or like those kinds of things that need to be really powerful. It's usually going to be the more airy things like hi-hats and, like bright synths, vocals, stuff like that. So if we want this to have a lot of power and impact, converting it to mono is a great way to go, and this also ensures that it'll work well in the club. And it just becomes like a nice little extra layer on top. The drums are already really solid on their own. It's not about taking something that sounds bad and fixing it. It's taking something that already sounds really good and adding an extra like 10 or 12% here in this case, and making it like really, really good. And also that helps with the classic kind of like more old school sound too, because that was that sound, right? Like everything getting crunched together on tape or in an old sampler or whatever it is.